It's a wonderful story about a dog, about a Jack Russell Terrier, and it's a sailing adventure of cruising around the world. Tara was an extremely clever, intelligent dog. I found that sometimes I had to take third place in the boat because she was such a strong character. We have a wonderful boat.
Very secure boat and kindly boat.
Sailing around the world is of interest to quite a few people, and the adventure of it. And not many people sail with dogs. I'd be sitting next to Robert on the settee and I'd get up to make a cup of coffee. Tara would jump into my place and then she'd go, So, are you going to come back here? So she was a wonderful, clever, intelligent dog. And she learned very many words and she would understand all sorts of things. And if we wanted to go out, like we were going to go for a dinghy ride, we'd actually have to spell it to each other. Because if we said dinghy, she'd be up and about and ready to go. So we didn't want to disappoint her. Well, what happened was when we got Tara, we thought, what are we going to call her? And because we do a lot of cruising, we see the night sky and we look at a lot of stars. And we thought, well, her birthday is on this date. Let's see what stars were in the night sky. And one of the stars was Ara. And we thought, that's a nice name for a dog, Ara. But you try calling Ara, 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 doesn't work. So then we decided we'd put a T in front of it and call her Tara. Robert was brought up on a farm in Rhodesia called Tara, and Tara is one of the ancient castles of Ireland, and Robert's mother was Irish, so good name.
All fitted together.
Well, my major challenge was being seasick, and Tara somewhat seasick. And I went on being seasick for a long time, whereas Tara would recover. I'd be seasick for a couple of days and get better. Tara would be seasick for about 12 hours. She'd jump down below, hide herself away somewhere, and recover. The challenges also in sailing would be piracy, would be safety on board, but probably seasickness and weather. Weather was something, and we would always watch the weather channels, and we had an SSB radio and we could download weather information. We would try and stay out of bad weather, and we were sailing in the tropics, but even so, you do get nasty storms. Well, one of the first ones was when we first had Tara on board, and she was sitting on my lap. We were in a marina and somebody called on the VHF. So I leant forward to pick up the radio, and she tumbled off my lap onto the sole of the cockpit and whimpered and kind of held her leg up in pain. And so we thought, gosh, what's happened here? And she'd actually fractured her leg. So that was at her very beginning of her life. She was hobbling around with a plaster on. Not very good for her. And another time she went overboard and disappeared for 4 days, but read the story and you'll find out what happened.
And that was probably one of the more memorable times of where we thought we really had lost her.
We have a wonderful boat, don't we?
Yes, Oyster 435, which is a very secure boat and kindly boat.
For us as beginners, really, we hadn't done any ocean cruising when we first got this yacht. She was extremely well built. She was a ketch and good strong rigging, and so we learnt a lot from our boat in sailing. And we would definitely do it again in a boat like that, and she was extremely comfortable.
Not really. The only modification which we did was on the ratlines to put a netting up so she wouldn't fall overboard. which of course was one of the horrific things that did happen to her. Eventually, she managed to jump over it and got lost for 20 hours. But other than that, there was very little modification which we had to do.
We had to wrap a leather strip around the roller furling of our jib, right in the bow of the boat, because she would get infuriated by jet skis and other people zooming past around our boat. Oh, let's watch the little dog yap. And Tara would get mad with this, couldn't get at them, so attacked the sail and ripped it to pieces. So we put a leather strip on that to save it.
She did a sensible thing. She went down below, found a little niche somewhere where she could wedge herself into, and went to sleep. And whenever she wished to go out for toiletry things, she just used to come and ask us, "I want to go out," and she got into a little a harness which we had for her, and she of course was trained to pee on command. There's pluses and minuses, and depends on how much you weight the plus and weight the minus. The pluses, of course, are the companionship of a dog, and the fact that they are a security as far as pirates or anything else concerned, a warning signal. And the negative points?
Well, the negative points are caring for the dog. You've always got to give the dog exercise, make sure that she gets out and about. And of course, customs officials, quarantine, difficulties in some countries where the dog is not even allowed ashore. So Tara, even though she had a chip, and we thought we got all our permits and everything correct for Australia, when we got there and we arrived in Cairns, they said, "No ways, your dog can't come ashore." And we said, "But we've got all these permits and this and that from Canberra." They said, "No, this is Cairns. Canberra's different."
Oh.
So our whole plan...
We are protecting Australia.
Yeah, so that wasn't a good plan. I think we've got that T-shirt. So no, we won't go to sailing again, but we certainly will go on travelling. And there's lots more wonderful places to look at in the world on land. Whether we'll be travelling with a dog or not, I'm not sure, because so often it's difficult through different countries, quarantine regulations, where you stop, where you stay. And for instance, where we live in Africa, the game parks, you can't take any dogs into game parks. And that's one of the major things of Africa.